Welcome into this segment of Behind the Pen presented by MostValuablePodcast.com. If you want to listen to the full podcast, go to blogtalkradio.com/MostValuablePodcast. Also, we're on iTunes, so check us out there as well. Thank you all for listening as always, and enjoy the show.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome in, my friends, to another episode of Behind the Pen. My name is Mike Rankin, and I will be your host for today's show, and I am by myself. But that's okay, because I have a plethora of different topics that I'd love to share with you this evening. And it is an evening, a summer evening. Happy June, everybody. Everybody who's listening, I hope you're enjoying the warm weather wherever you are, or, maybe it's cold. I don't know. Is Alaska warm this time? It has to be, right? I want to go to Alaska one of these days. But anyway, June 1st means that baseball season is about 2 months in, right? And now things are starting to flow. The initial 40 games, 50 games of the Major League Baseball season are done and over with, and now we can actually look at legitimate numbers, actually look at trends, and decide, okay, who is legitimate contenders now 2 months into the season? Of course, it is still relatively early, but we're starting to get to the point where the conversation of, it's still early is null and void. So, got a lot of baseball conversation to have with y'all tonight. We also have Chicago Bears talk, of course. They signed Victor Cruz. I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. I'll give you my thoughts, and I'll pretty much focus on the wide receiver core for the Bears in this episode. But first, got to get through the necessities. As always, give a like, comment down below. If you could, subscribe. Most Valuable Podcast on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for the support. Of course, it's always fantastic to hear any feedback, any sort. If you would wish to, send me a question. If it's baseball related, I would love to talk about it on the show. Just leave it down below and we'll have a conversation together. We really appreciate all of you coming in and doing your thing here at Most Valuable Podcast. If you want to listen to this entire podcast, go to blogtalkradio.com/Behind the Pen. You'll find it. You can sit here and, listen to me for about 45 minutes to an hour. Potentially, a little shorter than that in terms of time span, but happy you're here with me, and I'm looking forward to getting into this episode. Like I said, this is going to be a baseball segment to start the show. We're going to look at a plethora of different topics, as I mentioned in the intro. Let's start. Well, let me just list them for you. Albert Pujols is chasing 600 home runs. By the time this is posted, he may have already hit his 600 home run, but it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. Is he one of the greatest hitters of all time? Absolutely. I'd like to dive into that conversation a little bit and kind of share with you some of the numbers and some of the things as to why he's had so much success in Major League Baseball. Also, there was a brawl in Washington and San Francisco. It wasn't in Washington, it was in San Francisco, but my goodness, Bryce Harper, Hunter Strickland going at each other, charging the mound. Nothing better than physicality in baseball, right? Or is it? I will dive into that conversation as well. And plus, I have to look in depth at the Major League Baseball standings now as June has officially begun. Let's get right into it, huh? Because I'm ready to go. All right. First things first, Albert Pujols is attempting to get his 600th home run here in the foreseeable future, probably sooner rather than later, and I just want to give him his due. Now, I'm sure he's got a few years left in his game, right? 37 years old. With the Los Angeles Angels, signed that big-time 10-year contract. Let's see, back when, what was that, 2012? So, he's still got to play it out, or he could just cut and run and retire, a two-time World Series champion, three-time MVP. My goodness. Albert Pujols, when he came into the league, when he broke in with St. Louis, played in 161 games with the Cardinals and absolutely dominated. Batted .329 with a 1.013 OPS. Finished Rookie of the Year, of course, in that season. He was top 5 in MVP voting, an All-Star. First 10 seasons, he was an All-Star 9 times. The one time he was not an All-Star was in 2002, and he finished second in MVP voting. I don't know what happened there mid-season. Maybe he wasn't hurt, played in 157 games, but maybe he struggled through the first half. I don't know. Okay, the point is, Albert Pujols absolutely dominated with the Cardinals, and he was just consistently at the top of the league in almost every statistical category in terms of a hitter. And one of the reasons why he's been so dominant as a hitter, is because when you look at him at the plate, right, it's just such a simple swing. Everything just comes so free and natural to Albert Pujols. The way he sets up in the box, nothing too fancy, nothing over dramatic. He's very short and quick to the ball, but my gosh, he's got so much power. And when you look at his numbers, in terms of his career numbers, I'm looking at OPS, which is on base plus slugging percentage, in all of baseball, all of Major League Baseball. 1, 2, 3. Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Lou Gehrig. They had an OPS up over 1. Albert Pujols sits 17 right now with a career .9597 OPS. That's 17th. In terms of history of baseball, this guy is 17th in on-base plus slugging. He's taking walks, gets on base, he provides power. 600 home runs. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. When you look at one of the greatest hitters of the game, Albert Pujols is in that conversation. Alongside him, guys that come to mind, Ken Griffey Jr. during that era, Miguel Cabrera during that era, Manny Ramirez. How about even Larry Walker, right? Joey Votto, Todd Helton. Guys who are instrumental to their team's success, especially at the plate, carried them to a World Series, or at least helped them to get there, right? Because some of the guys mentioned haven't actually won a World Series. However, they were instrumental pieces to their team. And of course, they're instrumental pieces to Major League Baseball because why? Baseball must market its most productive players. And what do they want to target about the game? Are they going to talk about defense? How incredibly awesome a shortstop is in terms of range and arm strength? Or pitching? Starting pitching, how dominant he is, right? I think it's more offense. I think that goes with every single sport. You talk about basketball, football, baseball, hockey. It's all about the scoring, man, right? When you're looking at it, who's going to throw a 50-yard touchdown bomb, right? Well, that's the highlight you want to see. That's the most exciting highlight you want to see. And in baseball, you want to see guys split the gap on a line. You want to see a guy put one outside the ballpark. Albert Pujols is about to do it 600 times in his career, but overall, baseball can market these guys because they're offensively successful, and that draws in more eyes. So they get a shout out because they're a big part of the reason why Major League Baseball can kind of run with what they want to do. But when you're looking at Albert Pujols specifically in the postseason, and I don't know, is he going to be back and make another postseason? Angels are going to have to do him a favor eventually because, my goodness, I don't know what's going on in Los Angeles on that side of town, but boy, are they mediocre. So maybe 2014 is the last time we've seen where we're going to see one of the greatest hitters of all time participate in the postseason. You never know. Not sure anybody's going to want to trade for that contract anytime soon. If anything, he retires before he's 41, 42 when his contract is eventually up. But the point being is, are you going to really remember Albert Pujols for his performances in the playoffs? Yes, because he's been there a lot. But I asked that question because David Ortiz is going to go down as one of the greatest postseason performers of all time, if not the best, the most clutch. And when I look at Albert Pujols, he showed up. 19 home runs in 77 postseason games. 8 years of postseason baseball because he's always there. And Albert Pujols was a main reason. Of course, the Cardinals were absolutely dominant that NL Central for a long time. Astros were pretty competitive in the early 2000s, and then they fell off. The Brewers, late 2000s, were pretty competitive. The Cubs made a couple runs in 07 and 08. I mean, they were kind of taken seriously in 09 as well. So you look at the Cardinals' absolute dominance, and one of the reasons, of course, Albert Pujols, but I said the 19 home runs in 77 games. In 2 World Series wins, 06 and 2011 with the Cardinals, combined for 4 homers in the World Series alone. And he showed up. As I said, you guys, when you look at a performer, sometimes the postseason, you see something completely different from his career numbers. Albert Pujols, a career .323 hitter with a 1.030 OPS in 8 postseason years. So hats off to you, Albert Pujols. It's actually been a pleasure to watch and continue to watch you go to work at the plate. One of the best and most pure hitters the game has ever seen. Short, simple stroke, so much power in that frame. He's just an absolute monster, and I'm rooting for him. Let's see how far he can get. The man is 37 years old. Right now he ranks 9th in home runs. Above him is Sammy Sosa. He has 609. Jim Thome has 612. and Ken Griffey Jr. has 630, Willie Mays 660, and that was 5. Can Albert Pujols catch Willie Mays? Maybe. If he plays 3 more seasons, probably. Hits 20 home runs each season, he could probably do it. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest. He could do it. Albert Pujols can get up to the top 5. Alex Rodriguez retired with 696. Now, that's probably a long shot. He would have to play an extra few seasons, maybe play out that contract, but you never know. People like Albert Pujols never cease to amaze me, and I hope he never leaves the game, even though it's inevitable. But Albert Pujols, you're an absolute monster. Thank you guys for sticking around for this segment of Behind the Pen. If you want more Most Valuable Podcast content, click on the video up above, because I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep listening to our voices every day. But again, guys, thank you all for listening. We really do appreciate you.